We're here behind the scenes at the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, where dancers are busy rehearsing Cameron Fraser-Monroe's new work, šɛgatəm, which is premiering in New York City. And today we have the pleasure of being joined by Cameron, who's a member of the Tla'amin First Nation in British Columbia. Cameron, would you mind just telling us a bit about the story behind this ballet?
Absolutely. So when I received this commission, I thought that the most important thing I could talk about in the moment was the way my elders in Tla'amin have a great resilience and strength behind them. There are 94-year-olds like Elder Elsie Paul who are still trying to chop her own firewood and still very mobile. And I think that the reason behind this is that she has a wonderful community supporting her, and she's able to ask for help with the small tasks. So that's kind of what the work is about, is a dancer learning how to ask for help from his community.
Yeah, and I know this work is a partnership between, the RWB, the New York City Center, and the Bard Center for Indigenous Studies. I'm curious to know how this opportunity come about in the first place.
Yes, absolutely. And so it has come together very quickly. Normally commissions take years and years of planning, but New York City Center hosts Fall for Dance Festival every year, and they bring in some wonderful companies. And they reached out to the RWB to commission me to create a new work in partnership with the Bard Center for Indigenous Studies. So part of the event is a lecture and demonstration at Bard College, as well as a talkback in New York City. And we're taking this work down to premiere on September 26th. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, and so I know the meaning of šɛgatəm is to lift someone. I was curious to know, how do you kind of convey that through movement in this ballet?
Yes, it's to lift someone up, and it starts quite literally with someone standing on the shoulders of his community, and then he falls from his kind of peak of leadership and has to relearn how he negotiates those relationships and how he relates to the people around him. So, of course, there's a lot of physical lifting, but it's also very much about the way we lift up our elders and support those people, because they're not superhumans, they're people just like us as well.
Yeah, and I know the score for this ballet is composed by Jeremy Dutcher. I was curious to know, how did you work with him to convey this narrative through both movement and music?
That's right, and I'm super excited because Jeremy Dutcher's album just won the Polaris Prize, and he's the only individual in that awards history to have won it twice.
Jeremy Dutcher!
It's very exciting that we're taking that music to premiere this ballet in New York. So I didn't collaborate with him directly, but I did draw a lot of inspiration from that beautiful music, from that beautiful score, in order to tell this story. And in this case, the music actually came first. I heard that music and I knew I was going to have to choreograph to it, and I was saving it for the right opportunity, and I didn't have to wait long because this came up. And I'm, as I said, really excited to take Jeremy's work to Fall for Dance.
Mm-hmm. And I know you also have a background in grass and hoop dancing, and I'm curious to know, how do you incorporate those styles into your work?
Yeah, so like all artists, I'm influenced by my background and my upbringing, and for me that included Ukrainian dance and grass dance and hoop dance, as well as Coast Salish styles of dance. And then when I was 15, I moved here to the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, did my ballet training, worked as a contemporary dancer as well. And so I braid all of those influences into one movement vocabulary, and you see all of those influences present in the work.
Yeah, so you have less than a week till you and the dancers are all headed to New York City, but I'm curious to know, with this premiere, what do you want people to learn from this work and take away from this ballet?
Yeah, well, I'm honored that we have this opportunity to share this art on the world stage. I think that it's a huge opportunity to share other Indigenous artists as well as myself. So we mentioned Jeremy Dutcher, but we also have lighting design from Andy Morrow. So I just hope that we will be present on this world stage with companies like the Dutch National Ballet, Boston Ballet, of course, New York City Ballet, and to show them the excellence that all of our artists are cultivating in our own communities, and maybe to have an opportunity to share that in a wider form. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping they'll take away from it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, Cameron, and yeah, best of luck in New York, and back to you in studio.